Then once we attack buff Farias, take a look at this. Hey y'all, how you doing? I'm going to be doing something a little bit unorthodox here. So it's the end of the season, there's only about 7 days left, and then at the end of the season, if you've hit platinum or higher, you're going to get this skin. And this is a pretty cool skin. But there's a lot of players that are having trouble reaching platinum, even players that started on release day. But I actually have been helping coach some of the people in my guild in order to get platinum so that they could get this skin. So that's actually what I'm going to be doing for the rest of the week. If you need help reaching platinum, join my Discord, and I'll put the link right here so that you can join this Discord and send me a PM or post in the general chat, and I am entirely there to help everybody who needs it reach platinum ASAP. I myself have set a very weak low defense, so if you are already platinum or higher, or if you're lower than platinum, feel free to attack me for some free points, or if you're higher than platinum, please attack me just to lower my rating so that I can help people climb through gold, because once you get to platinum, it records your highest rank. You don't have to maintain platinum the entire time in order to get the skin. Once you reach it once, you've officially achieved it, and now you're going to get the skin. So higher ranks, please attack me to push me down so I can teach lower ranks how to progress through their stages and actually be able to see what people they're fighting. So this season, I myself am going to be reaching, I think that was Platinum 3, Platinum 2, rank 21. I was actually going to push for top 10, but the time I was ranked 21 was whenever the Guild Wars came out, or the Guild Raid Boss, so I had to move around a bunch of my equipment, and I just kind of lost the ability to hard focus on Arena. I also had reports that my coaching actually is going to work. I helped my brother personally. Me and my brother started the game at the same time. He hard focuses on PvE in games like this. I hard focus on PvP, so I have a little bit of a leg up. Pretty much every game I play, PvP is my main focus. I like the adrenaline and the drive just to be the best, and he likes to be the best at PvE. So while he could coach you in like World of Warcraft to do a mythic raid boss, I can coach you in whatever game to do PvP. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And I did successfully get him to plat in honestly like 2 days I got him to plat. So let's go ahead. If you need help, join the Discord. Also subscribe, by the way, like just saying. If you wanted the plat thing, that would be a good even trade, I think. So first, before we get into the matches and I show you like how we're going to be winning, I'm going to go over the minimum characters that we need. Our absolute carry going to be driving us all the way to platinum is going to be Farias. This is going to be the ticket to get us all the way to platinum. All we need is the right setup and the right enemy defense, and we will win every single time. So make sure that you have Farias. He does not need to be maxed. He doesn't need to have any SSR promotions. His second skill is what we're using. If you see on my card, mine isn't promoted at all, so it's not really a big deal. But this is the key. This is the guy. At least get him to level 40. It costs absolutely nothing to get him to 42. And if you literally like focus for an hour, you could get them to 44. I got mine to 46 just with extra things I had laying around. Our second most important character is going to be a hard get for some of the people that haven't reached platinum, but it's going to be Ziv. By the way, if you haven't even reached gold yet, then you're really going to have to jump on this. So Ziv is going to be our unit that we're going to be using to combo with Farias. His third skill is all we need, not skilled up, not anything. Mine isn't skilled up. All it does is it's going to pull everybody into a tight-knit group so that Farias can finish them off with this second skill. If you don't have Ziv yet, I know you have Amy. Amy has pretty much the same thing, but on a much lower scale. Her third skill has about half the radius, but it's going to be better than nothing. So use Amy to get to gold. You can definitely use Amy to get to gold. Amy Farias will get you to gold. And then once you get Ziv, then Ziv Farias is going to get us to plat. And the last required member we're going to want on the team is going to be Bannon. Again, doesn't need any skill ups, doesn't need anything. This is entirely based on setup. We're going to be using his third skill that puts an attack buff on our Farias to make him do more damage. No skill ups are required for that skill to do what it needs to do. Now for the last two members of the team, it's kind of going to be up to you. Just pretty much bring either your highest built units or units that you think can support Farias. For example, Tala, if you put down her flag, it's always going to give him a crit rate buff whether it's skilled up or not. So that's going to help Farias in the long run. Bringing Nadine, if you have Nadine, no skill ups required. Again, she's going to be able to push units that are too far out of the circle back into the circle. She's going to be able to pull units back into the circle, and if you do have her skilled up, then she'll supply a defense break, but entirely unnecessary. So pretty much just bring whoever you have most built at the time. Now, the only gear requirements we're going to want for Farias for his speed is we're going to want him to be at least 200 speed within the range of Ziv. So how our Ziv right now is 1350 speed, we're going to want our Farias to be at 1150, or if Ziv was at 1400, Farias would be at 1200. If Ziv was at 1500, Farias would be at 1300. At that point, you could probably get away with like 1250 or something, but basically, we need him to take a turn right after Ziv is what we want. pretty much all we need for Bannon is to take a turn before Farias so that Farias gets the attack buff. So just make sure his speed is higher than Farias's. And for Farias, just put as much damage as you can, try and get a high crit rate, try and get a high attack percent, get a decent speed as well, and also try to get a high pin rate. So that way, at least, if you're penetrating, because the thing about crit rate and crit damage is no matter how much crit damage you have, if you don't crit, it doesn't matter. The thing about pin rate is if you penetrate, then you penetrated, and that's all there is to it. So putting a pin ring on him is going to be probably the best bet, especially if you're still climbing. So this way we have pretty much a 100% chance to penetrate, and if we crit, then that's just a humongous bonus to our penetration. The rage cards we're going to use are going to be like the sniper one. So right here, this one that increases Ranger's attack. This one's going to increase the Ranger's attack speed. We're definitely going to be using those to increase the effectiveness on our Ranger. We definitely want this card, Speed Signal. Increases the attack bar of all allies whenever the battle begins. If you have that in SSR, that would be ideal because that's just a big boost to the attack bar at the beginning of the battle to ensure that your entire team takes first turn. Now for Bannon or Ziv, depending on if you're having trouble reaching a certain speed, or even for Farias, you can put on the speed supplement to help mitigate some of the speed problems you might be having. If someone's cutting in between your Farias and your Bannon, or cutting in between your Bannon and your Ziv, then having this on whoever's getting cut is probably going to help that stop happening. So I have 3 tickets ready to show you guys how this is going to work, the type of fights we're going to be avoiding, the type of fights we're going to be doing. And I'm actually going to be making my Nadine take turn 1. Just in case somebody is out of the range so that Ziv can get them into the group. Because if everybody was outside of the range, if I would have done Ziv's third skill, they wouldn't have actually been in the range. So now that we have Nadine taking turn 1, hopefully we can do that. We can push them into the group, and I'll show you how that's going to work. So here, frontlining Nadine and Bannon is going to be key because what Nadine's going to do is she's going to push the Kairos into the group so that we could get our AoEs off. And then also, since they're frontline, they're going to be taking most of the aggro from the enemies. Then we're going to buff Farias using Tala, and Bannon, we're just going to sweep them all. Alright, see how I put the speed supplement on Nadine, and she still is not fast enough to push the Kairos back. So we actually need to make our Nadine a little bit faster. So since we're not getting our full setup here, what you need to do, because I'm not going to cut out like matches that we lose and stuff, because we need to learn what we should and shouldn't be doing. So since I screwed up the speed, Nadine isn't going to get turn 1. She would probably push the Kairos back here if she got turn 1. Then I could easily use Ziv's third skill to pull everybody into the group. Since that's not happening, we're just going to have to pick what's going to get us the most people into the group. Now, if I use it on Kairos, I get Ziv and I get Nakri. So those are the 3 threats. If I use it on Nakri, I get Popo and I get Kairos, and that's 2 threats and a support. What you want to do is you always want to get rid of the threats first. Okay, now we've pulled all 3 of them into a group. Usually we will be fighting Lakshmi, which is completely fine if she uses her damage share. Since these 3 are pulled into a group, we're going to defense break with Nadine. Also, Kairos is confused, so whenever he actually does take his turn, he won't be doing that much damage. We've also seemed to screw up our speed on Bannon and Farias. Bannon is supposed to go before Farias, but we'll do this anyway since we're already here. No attack buff, how much is it going to do? So with no attack buff, it was pretty underwhelming. This could be a little bit of a challenge. This is why your gear is so important. You definitely want to make sure that your turn order is correct and your gear is correct. For now, we've already made the mistake, so we just need to take advantage of the damage share and do as much AoE as possible. Now, I think our next biggest threat is going to be Ziv, so let's go ahead and get rid of Ziv. Spamming defense break on Nadine is totally fine. And there, at this point, we could just straight up auto, and then they'll be taken care of. So even with the worst setup possible, our gear is like not that good on our units right now, and with like no setup at all, we were still able to take this match without losing a single character. And that's why this comp is going to be so powerful in groups and whenever you're able to group enemies up. Now back to the drawing board for our equipment. So with Bannon, he moved right before or right after Farias, and we need him to move right before. So we'll open the gear fixer and sort by speed. Pretty much all we needed to do was put a dash set on him, and he's gotten 100 more speed. Now that should definitely be more than Farias. I also believe Nadine did not move before Ziv, which is what we would like to happen. So we will also be putting her on a dash set to make her move faster as well. Now by putting her on a dash set, she's got 62 more speed, so that way we can go back to the fights and see if our comp is working properly now. All right, here's an example of teams that we're not going to mess with. Now, the only reason we're not touching this team is because of the Magnus on the team. The rest of the team seems fairly easy to deal with. The problem with Magnus is that if Magnus gets off his provoke, our entire team is ruined. We're just going to be first skilling. None of our units prioritize first skill except for Nadine, so first skill is not going to be helping us. If he gets off that provoke, he can also get it off twice, and then we're just going to be stuck doing whatever he wants us to do basically for the rest of the fight. So we're going to be skipping teams with Magnus. Now this is the ideal comp that we're going after. If we see they're all pretty much generally grouped up already, so being able to use Ziv's third skill to pull them all into an even more tight-knit group is going to pretty much guarantee Farias getting a kill. All right, starting the match, we can see that now we are in the correct turn order, except if Tala was a little bit faster than Farias, that would be more ideal so that she could get off a crit rate buff for him. So we'll also have to work on that a little bit. Now, we don't really need to push anybody with Nadine because everybody's already in a pretty solid position to be taken advantage of with an AoE. So just try to get as many people with the defense break as possible. Always use the Ziv's third skill on the person in the middle to get everybody in the group. Then once we attack buff Farias, take a look at this. And just, they have absolutely no way to recover at this point. We could literally just click auto and there's nothing they can do about it. And if Tala was able to crit buff, then that would have been just one shot everybody guaranteed. All right, so that's the higher end gold players. We have one more ticket. We might as well bust out another team. Another very good example of a team that we're going to be taking advantage of, since they are so tightly grouped up. Just make sure that everybody is in the range to take advantage of that grouping. And I decided instead of making Tala a supporter while we're doing this, I'll actually go ahead and make her a backup nuke. If you bring a second backup nuke in case Farias isn't able to take care of everybody turn one, that way you have an extra, little bit of leeway to do that damage that you were lacking. And too easy. The setup is already activated, so we're just going to defense break probably 1 or 2, okay? Now Lakshmi is in the middle, ready for everybody to get pulled in. The pull can be resisted. Christopher resisted the pull, but he's still in the range of the AoE for the second skill, I believe. Christopher is actually out of the range. I blocked myself. I should have moved a little bit closer. Definitely make sure, especially if this is like a team 1 comp, I don't know why I'm pushing my guys so far back. Don't be afraid to push them a little bit forward, especially if your tanks are front loaded. But for now, let's see how much we can do with 4. All right, if we had been able to hit a 5th guy, then that would have definitely ended all 3 of them right there. But since we have our backup nuke, let's just go ahead and take them out. All right, and that's going to be the end of our list for Platinum. I will do this again tomorrow. All right, y'all, that's going to do it for today. I'm just laying down the base for us to get this skin. So here's a little PSA I want to do afterwards. I wanted to talk to everybody and say, you can see here that I'm clearly ranked 174 at the moment, but on my record, it still says that I'm ranked 21. It still holds my highest record. So unless you're really pushing for number 1 right now, it would be nice for, everybody to set a weak defense and give everybody a chance at the skin. It's just going to be 1 weekly reward loss. You might lose like 60 or 100 gems. It's not that big a deal, especially for 1 week, to be able to offer everybody such an amazing reward. If you're worried about the season reward, all you get is arena points. You can really farm up to like 140 arena points a day anyways. You can get like 200 arena points a day. This is not a big deal. But I entirely understand if you don't want to give up your position. I'm just saying that I don't think it would be a big deal, especially to help people get something pretty cool. And yeah, so if stick with me, subscribe, join that Discord, and send me a message in the general chat, and I will entirely be willing to help you out if you're having trouble with this. But we're going to work on this for a few more days to make sure everybody that wants this skin can get the skin. But other than that, y'all, that's going to do it for me today. I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye.